Sweet.
We're live.
Yes, we are.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
There's probably no one here yet, but
Well, the replay. People watch
yeah,
the replay.
yeah, we're watching the replay. So this is Sunday night. Sunday night after day 4 of Champlain. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but we're also going to make our St. Lawrence River picks for this coming Thursday through Sunday. We spoke a minute ago. Might be a little bit tough without any percentages up yet, but at least we have groups we can pick guys from.
Yeah, like you need to put like a big asterisk on the screen and say,
Right.
Here's our preview, and
Right.
here are the people that we're picking right now.
Right.
But like, I'm gonna swing for the fences again this year, and I'm gonna take a couple of guys. Like I'm gonna wait till the own percentage comes out, and then I'm gonna make a few changes.
Yeah.
Depending on how the picks go, because there's gonna be a lot of guys that are picked heavily, and I'm not in it for like the season long right now, so I'm gonna try and just win the event and pick some guys off the
Yep.
that aren't heavily picked.
Yep. And that's what you're going to have to do. Yep. All right. Like we normally do, let's start out with some weights. Historically speaking, over the last 6 elite events going back to 2013, it's like almost progressively gotten almost every year. Last year with 97.8. It's going to be a little different this year, I think, with it shouldn't be. They were late July. Yeah, it's right or roughly the same time, but it might be right around that 100-pound mark.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That being said, I went with 100 pounds, 5 ounces.
Okay. I went with 101.11.
All right.
I'd really like to see 1 or 2 guys hit the century. We'll see. I don't know. That's obviously subject to change. And I think maybe we'll see how some of the guys are practicing. And
yeah, there is like between. I'm trying to remember. I think it was on Bass Talk Live. Matt Pangrack said that between the MLF event, like 2 weeks ago now, a week or 2 ago,
yeah,
until September, there's 9 different tournaments happening on Champlain, or not on Champlain, on the St. Lawrence.
Right.
So 9 tournaments in a row.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yep.
And
that's major stuff. That's that's your BFLs, your Bassmaster, Major League Fishing. I think the Toyota Pro circuits there. So 9 major events. In the Bass, I think there's a Bassmaster Open this year on the St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
So.
I said pressure. They're going to see pressure, but the St. Lawrence and the amount of water that they actually have to fish there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might not be as much pressure as we actually think, because those fish are probably moving around quite a bit, especially this time of year. So probably won't be too bad.
And it all depends. It all depends on what the tournament set as the boundaries. I believe.
True.
For bass, for this tournament, you can run to Lake Ontario.
Yes, I believe so. Yep.
It's gonna be a little longer of a run from, I think they're at Waddington again, so
yeah,
it's gonna be a long run. But for some guys, it's that's no big deal.
Yeah.
Because I think for the majority of the tournaments, if you can get to Lake Ontario, then there's a good chance you're gonna do pretty well.
Because both Chris Johnston and Mueller, I think they were both running down toward Ontario last year. Yep.
Yeah.
And it was
and I think the year before, Corey and Chris were making a pretty long run towards the lake.
Right.
And Corey had the boat issues.
Yes, that is correct. Yep.
And he still almost came back and
yeah.
did well.
Yeah, well, 2019 with the boat issues, he was 36th. So considering it was pretty good, because didn't he end up borrowing like his buddy's boat or something?
Yeah. Yeah, he actually borrowed his buddy's boat, and they have to, if you're gonna borrow somebody's equipment, you have to like clear like the fish finders. Like if you're gonna use their fish finders, like
Right.
you have to clear it. You can't have any other waypoints or anything.
Well, he probably just took his cards out and put his own in.
But they have to clear it, and the clock was off, so he actually even was late to like weigh-ins, I think. So it cost.
Oh him. Yep. I do remember that.
It cost him a lot.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into.
I was going to say, with that being said, do you want to talk about Chris and Corey Johnston in Group A?
Yeah. I mean, Chris Johnson, obviously, last year, he won it, first Canadian angler to win an elite event, Blue Trophy, blah, blah, blah. Dave Mercer. The previous year, 2019, he finished second to Mike Frazier, who I'll talk about a little later.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're gonna talk about him later too.
A first and second place. In my opinion, I think Chris Johnston is going to be the heavy favorite. Not heavy, but he's going to get I would say he's probably going to get at least 30%.
Yep, and that's why I'm going with Corey.
Right. Corey, 2020 last year, he finished 7th, so he was a top 10 with his brother. And then, like we just talked about, 2019, he had some boat issues, so 36th place there. So he did fish Saturday, but I thought about it, but I'm as of right now, I'm going with Chris, regardless of what the percentage is. Yeah. Just because he's doing well, and that's his. He lives closer to the St. Lawrence than Corey does, so that's his baby up there. Yep. I mean, there are plenty other good picks. I think A group, of course, is great picks, but
I'd say Polinick's up there.
Yep. Austin Felix, I think.
Yep.
I mean, he may not have a huge. Well, obviously with the elites, he doesn't have a big track record, but I think he could be a solid pick. Walters, he's always going to do good. Watching him today for quite a while, he's just locked in playing that video game with that forward-facing sonar.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see like how good he does on the St. Lawrence with that.
Yeah,
because for me, I'd be pointing it straight down at the fish instead of pointing it out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're fishing a lot of vertical stuff out there. If you can point it down, you could almost, play your video game. And
yeah, I think. I mean, if you're in deeper water, I think it'd be better pointing it more downward. But if I'm assuming like where he was fishing today, he was more shooting forward because they were maybe a little shallower.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't. If the bite's on, I guess it doesn't really matter if you're right above them. They really don't care. But yeah, I don't know. I would think a little bit more forward in the shallower areas and straight down deeper.
Yeah. I think the one thing is going to be interesting to see is how what the percentage is on Seth Fighter.
Right.
I mean he's going to hold his own up there, but I don't think he's really going to have a chance to win this one.
I don't think so either. And I don't. I mean, he's always going to fish hard, but I don't know what the math is right now on the AOY standings, but I mean, he could probably not even show up and probably win still.
Yeah. I think he probably just has to go and weigh in some fish and get his points for showing up.
Yeah. Yep. I was actually a little bit nervous for him today on day 4. A lot of the guys kind of started out pretty slow. Dustin came out of the gate, running hard, but a lot of the guys just lagged, and then that after like noon, 1 o'clock, everything just picked up, and you saw so many guys jumping around that leaderboard. But yeah, I think he's going to do well.
Cool. All right, Group B.
Group B. Whew. As of right now, I'm gonna pick another Canadian angler, Jeff Gustafson. He's at 0% right now, so this is a great value.
Yeah, I mean, right now I saw Gustafson in that group. Right now, my pick is Brock Mosley.
Okay.
He did pretty well last year, and I think
Yeah,
he was even fishing for largemouth.
he had a third.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's decent largemouth up there. I mean, once you get off the main river there into some of those inlets, I mean, you can find grass and stuff like that in there. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's probably going to be a handful of the southern guys that are, just in shallower in the grass areas. Yep, flipping or throwing a wacky or something.
Another guy who did it last year would be, I don't know where he finished, but Hunter Shryock. He did a lot of the largemouth game.
21st, 14 and 14th place 2019 and 60th and 18. So he's what Ohio. So he's he's more familiar with the smallmouth game anyway.
Yeah,
should be. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, that group. You also have Chris Dane, which, I mean, if he ever just slowed down and stopped just swinging for the fences with his big baits.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that about him, but it's frustrating in fantasy fishing.
Yeah.
To try to pick him and then see him throwing a bait bigger than some of the fish they're catching.
True. Yep.
You also have Taku in that group.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, he was. He did pretty awesome. Like day 1 and 2. This weekend here, and just kind of fizzled out to 31st. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go with Taku at all. I think I still have him available for Drain the Lake, but I'm not sure. I might just stay away.
Yeah, I mean, I think Champlain is more tailored towards how he fishes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him out there. The St. Lawrence is going to really be won by a guy fishing deep.
Yeah. That's where you're going to get your weight. Yep.
What else is that? Maybe Chad Pipkins in that group.
Yeah, I mean Pipkins, he's got a lot of elite history up there. 29th last year, 44th the year before, 2017, 48th, 32nd and 15, 10th in 2013, and 2018, 94. So some mixed reviews, but still it's somebody that I'd be fairly confident in picking.
Let's see. Another guy that kind of just shows like the tournaments that I don't think he's going to do in, he like kind of shows up and does pretty well. Buddy Gross is in that group. And I didn't really expect too much from Buddy this week. And
first place on day 1.
Yeah, I don't think he finished where he wanted to. 30th.
30th, yep.
But
53.3 he had. Yep. But I mean, Buddy, Chickamauga, Tennessee River. I mean, he's a river fisherman. So, I mean, fishing Chickamauga and the TVR is completely different than St. Lawrence, but he's still used to fishing stuff with current. So
yeah, there's spots in the St. Lawrence that are you can't even hold with spot lock.
Yep. And that, I mean,
been there, done that.
Yep. Yeah, because I know I can spot lock up to maybe 4 miles an hour, and that's about it. Yep. All right, what's next? C?
Yep.
C group. This is a little bit tough for me. And I mean, there's some good names in here, and there's some northern anglers. But as of right now, I'm going with Pat Schlapper. This is the big question mark group for me. I have no idea, but as of right now, I'm going to go with Pat. You did bring up earlier for the show Keith Combs, and I actually love that pick.
Yeah, he's my pick right now. We'll see what other people think, but he does pretty well there. He's coming off of a second place finish at Champlain. The only problem is when I pick him, he usually decides to take the week off. So
yeah,
there's my warning.
I really like him coming in with momentum. And I mean, I'll rattle off his finishes over the past 6 years or whatever: 2020, 44th, 2019, fourth place, 8th in 2018, 31st, 2017, 9th in 2015, and 23rd in 2013. So I mean, he's had some solid finishes, and to me, that's good enough for a C group guy.
Yep.
So I mean,
And yeah, and to be honest, last year he had he had a down year like for the entire
yeah,
season. So
right,
and he came out pretty slow this year. You didn't
yeah,
really hear his name too much, but
yep,
it was nice to see him actually do well on Champlain, get back
yeah,
into it.
yeah. And he was primarily throwing top water, wasn't he? Most of the time, from what I recall watching, anyways. Him and
Uh,
Lee were pretty much throwing top water, I think.
yeah, I didn't see much. I haven't didn't see coverage from the last 2 days. I was camping, and
Okay.
so I didn't see anything. The beginning of the week they really didn't cover him at all. So
Yeah.
it's Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. All right. So Schlapper for me, Combs for you for now. That I can almost guarantee I'm going to change my pick in C
Yeah.
group, but that's what I'm going with now.
Yep. So just say again that without any own percentage, it's tough to stick with any picks.
Yeah.
Um, at this point, like I'm out of it for overall for the season, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
try and win the event with guys that aren't, you know, heavily
Yep.
favored.
I mean, a couple of the other guys for C group. Carl Jakobsen, he did 20th last year. He's been fishing pretty well lately. And then, I mean, you got a couple of northern anglers. You got Bob Downey, who's good with smallmouth, Caleb Kupel, and um, I mean Brian Schmidt. Obviously, he's got some momentum rolling, but I think he's going to be. I think may possibly be a little bit washed out. That man is going to be incredibly busy these next couple of days, doing interviews and taking phone calls and stuff like that, while he's going to be trying to pre-fish because they're only going to get 2 or 3 days to pre-fish this week or for
Uh,
practice.
well, they'll get their normal practice. It starts tomorrow, so they'll get um, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Are they going to be able to fish Wednesday?
I think so.
Okay.
The other thing is it's not that far from Champlain, so I'm assuming most of the guys are
Half the
pretty much
field's
ready to
already
go.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I know for Major League Fishing, Jacob Wheeler, like he won his group, so he didn't have to fish um, the semis. I guess you'd
Mm-hmm.
call them the semifinal day.
Right.
So he actually drove an hour and a half from where they're going out of for the St. Lawrence. I think they're
Mm-hmm.
going out of I can't remember exactly. It wasn't Waddington, but it was the next one down, not
So
Clayton.
Messina.
Yeah, Messina.
Okay.
So they were in Messina. He drove an hour and a half and went to Champlain.
Okay.
So, and I think Waddington's actually closer um, to Champlain than Messina is.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for C group being my question mark, I mean, there's still plenty of guys in here that are I think decent picks anyway.
Yep. And there's going to be a bunch of guys fishing for their spot for next year.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to be very cutthroat for next year. There's going to be a lot of regular names that we've seen for years that aren't going to be there next year.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, D group.
All right, go ahead on D group here. We're probably got the same guy, but
Yep. We'll just say Micah Frazier. He's got a
yep,
win in 2019,
yep,
fishing his Ned rig. And looking at the list here, I mean, there's not too many other names. Maybe Jamie Hartman comes to mind, but
yeah,
after last week, I'm probably gonna stay away from him. Uh, let's see. Let's do a little scroll. Paul Mueller. Paul Mueller's
yeah.
in that group.
Mueller obviously finishing second last year is going to be heavily favored.
The other guy that I see in this group, and I think he finished in the top 10 last year, would be Clark Wendland. He's been having a down year.
Yeah, he finished eighth. Yep.
And I know he was making the run out to Lake Ontario. Um, I know last year during the coverage he was like, "I don't care what it's like, I'm making the run because that's where the winning fish are at." So,
Yeah.
but they were going out of Clayton. So
Yeah.
I mean, Clayton to Waddington is it's a good almost probably an hour if running
Hmm.
just between there and I mean I'll pull up a map right now and we can take a look.
So Clayton's further up.
Clayton is closer to the lake.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So out of Waddington this year, they're going to be that's a longer run.
Oh yeah, that's the other end of the.
Yeah. Okay. That will be a long run. And there's a lot of rocks and boulders you got to watch out for too. Those guys have to be pretty much running the shipping channel to stay safe.
Here, I'm just gonna.
Because we know about people running through the river and tapping some boulders.
I have no idea what you're talking about there.
Happy to say though that your lower unit stayed with us.
Yeah. All right. So Clayton.
Oh yeah, that's way closer. Yeah, Clayton's actually closer to Ontario than when we went up there. We were what, like Chippewa Bay area.
Yeah, we were right here, this area.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
So
that's
it's
much closer.
so Waddington to Clayton.
Hour and a half drive.
Yeah, you figure on the water you're looking.
Yeah, you
Those
probably
guys are
make it.
full throttle.
Yeah, you probably make it in a little over an hour.
And you're still going out to the lake, which is, I'm assuming a lot of the times they fish in here.
Yep. They're. I'm assuming they're probably only U.S. side.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
All right. So Micah Reed says, I was bragging about being in first, totally dropped out of the top now. So disappointed. I was disappointed after the first tournament.
Micah Frazier, I'm just his results over the past couple of years. He did fifth last year, first obviously in 2019. We talked about 2018 was 19th and 2015 was 37th. D group. I mean, for both you pick Frazier. I mentioned about him last week when we were doing our show. You know, Micah Frazier's my kind of secret, and that's who I'm going with for D group as well.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see what the percentages roll out. I think at Clark Wendland, Paul Mueller, Micah Frazier.
Yeah.
All right, E group.
Dustin Demarion. I mean, he's got a lot. He's got a lot on the line. I mean, he had a great tournament here this weekend, and he's one of those guys that are pretty. He needs to finish probably another top 10 to be able to fish in elites again next year. He needs a good finish again.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's also fishing the. I think he's fishing the Northern Opens.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he has a chance to qualify back through there.
Right.
We'll see. The only other person in that group that I would really think of picking would be Garrett Paquette.
Yeah.
He fishes that. You know, he's in Michigan. He fishes St. Clair and all those areas, which is closer to the St. Lawrence type fishing than it is.
Yeah.
You know, Champlain type. So
yeah, Garrett had a 14th last year and 48th in 2019. Not a bad pick either. But I mean, there's a couple other guys that probably do okay. I mean, Chris Groh, possibly. I know Chris stays with the Johnson brothers and Fighter and Robertson, so he's got. They share a lot of information, so I think he could do pretty well.
He's always like, I never pick him just because I don't know. He just,
you don't hear his name very often.
No, definitely not. And I'm assuming he's probably on the chopping block.
Yeah, he's probably in that dozen or couple dozen guys that are fighting for their life.
I mean, I think you're looking. I'll pull up the list here, and we'll go through our stud sportsman's picks.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean, for just the fact that when these guys are traveling, like the fact that Chris is staying with the Johnstons and Fighter and Matt and a couple of the other guys, that's just a wealth of knowledge, especially being up here. If those guys are willing to share some spots.
yeah. So yeah, I think if you're looking at guys that are really fishing for their career, right there you
Everybody,
go.
everybody on that list.
Yep.
Yep. And they're cutting down to how many next year? Is it 84 or something like that?
Yeah, I think they're cutting like to 80 or something, and then they're gonna have like probably a dozen coming in,
Okay.
and then they'll probably even cut a bigger cut next year.
Yeah.
We'll see what their plans are.
So I mean, basically, you could basically see that entire E group right now just gone. Almost. Yeah.
And it'll also be interesting to see like what they do as far as, if there's any guys that just drop out,
Yeah,
on
you
their
may.
own.
Yeah, you may get a couple that just kind of feel like doing something else, or fishing a different league or whatever. But
I mean, there may be a spot like we don't know about John Cox, and we haven't talked about him at this tournament because he's not fishing it.
he's not fishing, right?
And if you didn't know, he also fishes the Bass Pro Tour, the MLF side, and they fished the St. Lawrence, and it was within the cutoff for this tournament coming up,
Mhm.
and so they disqualified him for that. And I believe it before the year even started, he said that this was the only issue that he really had,
Yeah.
and he was hoping it would get taken care of, and yeah, they took care of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did. But I mean, you kind of have to do that. You have to set that precedent, because
Yep.
if you don't, maybe some other guys might want to, fish both ways there. And
Yep.
but I mean, earlier in the season, the first couple of events, we kind of talked about John Cox a little bit, and how his longevity is going to do throughout the season. And I'm pretty surprised that he's just like stuck with it. It doesn't seem like he's getting burned out. He got a haircut finally, and everything's good.
Yeah. How about you, Matt? Did you get a haircut yet?
I have not.
No.
Nope. So I haven't had a haircut since the first week of December.
Wow.
So it's hard to tell. I got my muffs on and my hat, but I got a mop up top.
So we don't know about John Cox. That might be another spot if he just says, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to go fish Major League Fishing, and
Yeah.
that may be the end of his Bassmasters for now.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if he's that passionate about it and he wants to run around with his, like a chicken head cut off, but whatever, man, if he's happy doing that. And I don't know, to me, I think I would rather put all my focus into one and just concentrate on that. But I mean, if he's making decent money doing what he's doing and he's having fun, then that's what matters. So his situation's different than anybody's, mine or yours or whoever's. So
yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching it because he basically is fishing every weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how that unfolds.
Yep.
All right, do you want to do our Stout Sportsman's picks?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, our Stout Sportsman picks have done absolutely horrible this year. I mean, for the most part, they've done pretty horrible.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do too horrible for Champlain. I'll pull that up here.
Who we took?
29.
We took Corey, Matt Robertson, Schmidt, Wendell, and Kelly J.
Yep, I have it up on screen right now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not the best. I mean, obviously we picked the winner, but I mean, compared to my team.
Yeah, I had a horrible week, but I also swung.
Yeah, you swung pretty hard.
All right. What do we want to do for Group A?
You give me a handful of guys, and I'll pick one.
All right, let's go.
I already know who I'm going to pick, but go ahead.
We'll go Polinick. Man. Polinick, Walters, or Seth Fighter?
Well, you didn't give me who I was going to pick, but
okay.
No. I'm going to go.
No,
pick? No, I'm going to. I would have. Honestly, I would have taken Austin.
Yeah.
I'll take. No, I'm going to take Polinick though. 10th last year, 7th in 2018, 3rd in 2017. I mean, he's solid.
And he won. He actually won.
Yeah, he did.
Before that,
2013, he won.
And that's. I know he ran to the lake.
Yeah. Yep. So that's a good pick there. Yep.
All right, Group B.
Man, I did not hear Hank Cherry. I don't think I heard Hank Cherry's name other than like Thursday coverage. We talked about Buddy Gross. I'll throw him in the mix. I'll throw Taku in there. And well, you picked Brock Mosley already. We can't do that. And how about we talked about Hunter. I'll throw Hunter in there. Shrek.
Yeah, let's go Hunter. We haven't given him any love this year, and
okay.
You know what? He's gonna go battle with the largemouth shallow.
Right.
Mike, I don't know when you joined our picks, but those are the guys that we're already picking as our own picks. So this is actually our lineup for our combined team.
Our combined team. Yep.
All right, Group C. Let's go. I'm gonna check this guy because I think he did pretty well last year. And
who's that?
David Mullins.
Where is he?
How did he do last year?
37th.
Oh, not as good as I thought.
No.
All right. Well, let's do. This is the group that we talked about being.
Yeah, just C group is a little bit of a toss-up, I think.
So let's go Mark Frazier, Carl Jacobson.
Yep.
And Bob Downey. I'll throw a fourth in there.
All right.
Go Caleb Kufal.
Okay. I really like Carl here, but I'm gonna go with Bob Downey. I don't know why.
Right.
But Bob Downey, Wisconsin.
All right. D group.
All right. We talked about Mr. Hartman. I'm going to throw him out there, even though I don't know. Paul Mueller and Clark Wendlandt.
Clark Griswold. No, let's go Paul Mueller.
Yeah.
Mueller.
So second last year, 45th the year before, and 21st in 2015. All right.
And last group.
Yep.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one name that sticks out.
Yeah. What's the name?
Garrett Kett.
Yeah, I was looking at him too.
Yeah.
We'll go with him. And what is our
weight?
Yeah.
I went 101.11. You went 100 even with 5 ounces. So that's putting us right about 101.
All right.
Yep.
116 ounces.
Yeah, 100 pounds, 16 ounces. Yep. So if it'll let you put it in, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is all subject to change without having the own
Yeah.
percentage.
Yep.
It's really just us just talking and like speculating. But obviously, we know that the Johnston brothers are going to be high up there.
Yep.
So
Who you took Dust? Did you take Dustin in your E group?
Yep.
Okay. I forgot to write that one down.
Yeah, I know he's come up and he's good friends with the Serious Angler podcast, and he's come up and fished with Andrew in the Niagara River. So
Yeah.
I know he has a little bit of river experience.
Yeah, I mean, last year I think he was 53rd, but he's he's growing, and I don't know, he's got good momentum going, and like we said earlier, he's kind of fighting for some position for next year, so he has to.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, I'm very interested, in the next couple of days to see how the percentages in A group kind of pan out. I mean, obviously, I think Chris Johnston he's going to get the majority, but I think it should be fairly spread out with the amount of anglers that are capable up there. Because I mean, there's probably 5 or 6 guys in the A group that could potentially win it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think they're allowed to fish the Canadian side, so that cuts down the water tremendously. But
yep.
I mean, you got a lot of water there anyway.
Yeah, there's quite a bit, and especially being that far, northeast up to St. Lawrence. I mean, they can. I don't know how well the fishing is when you go out to the right versus to the left, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to get back there and fish that again and different time of year.
Right.
It's we fished a couple years ago on the St. Lawrence in
early mid September.
Yeah, and mid to late September, I think
mid
it
to
was.
Late. Okay.
And it's I guess a totally different animal then because the water was down a little bit and
yep.
Like we didn't get to. It was pretty choppy with the wind and everything, but
yeah, we did have some decent wind. I do. I remember getting wet. Yeah. But we did have 4 adults on the boat too, so it's a little bit tougher fishing with 4 on the boat. Obviously. So. Yeah. But that first day or two, I mean, I didn't catch them, but I mean, you caught some, like a 5.5 that first day.
I think it was just under 5.
Oh, just under. Okay.
Yeah, 5.2 is my personal best, and I think that was just under 5.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we caught a few there. I think it was the second. Was it the second day where we actually did pretty well?
I know the day that we took that little tour on the one island, kind of whatever they got going on there. I know afterward we pulled out and we fished a couple like massive like building size boulders off that northeast side, and I think I dropped down on 1 or 2 of them, but I mean they weren't anything substantial, but
yeah.
But there is so much water there that you got to look for them.
Yeah, I mean you have to look for them. Opposite from Champlain, like I think you can launch your boat in Champlain and catch a fish.
Yeah.
No problem. I went there last year in middle of September, so I definitely like to plan some trips to go back to Champlain and St. Lawrence when it's a little earlier in the year, like July, August.
Yeah.
Next year, but for like Champlain, I believe you can launch your boat and catch 15 pounds pretty easy, and most of the guys said that you can go out there and and you can catch fish. And I think most of the week they talked about it on live where there's 2 and 3 pounders everywhere.
Yeah. Yep. And and I like the graphics that they put up, and they kind of show you an overview of the lake and where everybody is, and especially day 1 and 2, when you got 90 something guys out there fishing, and they're not all clumped in one area. I mean, they're spread out through not the entire lake because Champlain is enormous, but that's proving to you right there that you can pretty much catch fish anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you know what pattern, you should be fine.
Yeah, and they ran into some good weather.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
did.
if you get some good wind on Champlain, it turns into like another like Great Lake pretty much.
Yeah.
It gets pretty bad. I have a short video of going through 4-footers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I did some of that yesterday.
yeah.
Yesterday morning, Ann and I went out to do some walleye fishing on Erie, and primarily we stay inside the bay. But I'm like, oh, it's only calling for like 3-4 mile an hour winds, but they were out of the northeast, and we get to the launch, and I passed like 3 boats, dry boats, going the opposite way. They didn't even launch, and I'm like, ah, screw it, we're going out. And it was, once we got out like 50 foot of water, there was 4s and 5s. It was a little rough. Needless, we didn't fish very long, but it was so rough. I could only get 2 rods in the water because I mean it's hard just to stand up, and when you're rigging for walleye or anything, dipsies, downriggers, it's tough.
Yep.
But we did catch 1 fish. We got 1 walleye.
Yeah, that's the thing with walleye fishing. That's a lot of time, and
Yeah.
it takes you
Yep.
some time to get used to it.
And a friend of mine went out for a charter today on Erie for walleye. There was 6 of them that went out, and the captain called them last night and said, it might be a little iffy, but they got out there. He said it was like 1 to 2s today. They got a little bit of rain, but I think they got 15 keepers, and they threw back 5 or 6 shorts, and they got a steelhead, and so it wasn't a bad day. But obviously 6 people, that could have been 36 fish they could have kept, but they came in about 11:30, 12 o'clock.
That's good.
So
They must have a big boat for 6 people, man.
I want to say it was a 27 footer. I mean, it wasn't anything huge, but I mean, 8 people on a boat because you got your captain and your first mate. So that's a lot of people.
Yeah. Micah says I need a 1,400 point event. Good luck, guys. Ready for next season already? Yeah, we're pretty much ready. I can't wait for them to actually tell us what the schedule is going to be for next year.
Yeah, I I can almost guarantee they're going to go back to Champlain. I mean, I watched, Thursday, Friday, yesterday. I watched a couple hours each, and Scott asked me messaged me earlier. He's like, "Are you watching the weigh-ins?" And I'm like, I've been watching from 9 a.m. straight through to the end of the weigh-ins. So, like today was like super exciting because I knew it was kind of a little bit dead for the guys this morning, but once they got like 12, 1 o'clock, that bite just picked up, and you saw all these lead changes, and it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Champlain is they're gonna catch a lot of fish, but the fish they're catching are so close together in size
Yeah,
that like it's gonna keep it close.
yeah,
Where like St. Lawrence, I think you're gonna have, I bet you the top 20 are gonna there's gonna be a bigger gap.
oh,
And
for sure.
on the St. Lawrence, I think you're gonna have a lot of guys that don't bring in the limit. So I mean,
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more no limit, bags than there was this week for sure.
what was it? Champlain day 1. There's one guy that didn't catch a limit.
Yeah, who was that? So like, shoot, who was it? Let me scroll here real quick. Is it Capo? Quentin Capo, I think, was the only one who didn't get a limit. He had 2 fish. Yep.
And honestly, like I saw that list, and well, first, like in the beginning of the day, like only like half the guys had marshals, so you had
Right.
a bunch of guys that just showed 0.
Yeah.
And I assumed that. I'm like, these guys, like I can launch my boat on Champlain, and like without practice, I can go out and catch pretty much 5 fish if I had a full day,
Should.
no problem.
Yeah.
The couple days I was up there, we didn't even get full days, and we were battling the elements, and we still caught fish.
Mm-hmm.
We still caught 3 or 4 fish each day, and and we didn't know anything about the lake showing up. I mean, I did my map research, but like we didn't have time to drive around the lake for 3 days like they do.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never fished Champlain. I've seen it, I've been on it, but I've never fished it, and it's huge. There's so much surface area there to cover. It's daunting.
Yeah, and for us, it was like, okay, well, the first day we went over and fished near sort of like towards Burlington, and there's a break wall there, and I caught my personal best largemouth of 5 pounds 2 ounces,
Hmm.
and that was right near the break wall, like right where the opening was, and I was throwing a deep diving crankbait. I think it was like 20-foot diver,
Yeah.
and boom, got it.
Hmm.
But before that, we were around the corner and up a little ways, and we caught a couple smaller bass, probably 1 to 2 pounders. Um, but then the second day, like if I would have just stayed there, and I could have expanded and caught more fish, but we wanted to see more of the lake, and so the
Sure.
next day we went up and actually where they had the coverage, they're working on that bridge, the bridge
Hmm.
construction. We fished there. We fished another spot there. I think they call it the Inland Sea.
Hmm.
We fished around there and um, over where on the Vermont side more too.
Okay.
But yeah, we got around for the few days that we actually got the fish. We actually lost a day because of just the winds and rain. The first day we were supposed to go out, so you know,
Yeah. I mean the bigger lakes up here, it's tough on those windier days. I mean even like when you guys came down to Erie, a month or so ago. I mean that Saturday it was it was bad. So, but what we have a little something coming up here.
yeah. How many days away are we now? 10 days? No,
We start we start the
10 before.
20 we start the 22nd. So
Yeah.
yeah, 10 11 days. Yeah, we're going into the Finger Lakes. Just Scott and I didn't want to go too far. Just kind of stay somewhat close to home, but we're gonna fish all Thursday, Friday, and probably Saturday morning.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe
But
even a little bit longer, but we'll see how
yeah,
whatever.
so we're going to Keuka Lake in the Finger Lakes. It's the if you're not familiar with the Finger Lakes, it's just to the west of Cayuga and Seneca. It's that Y-shaped lake, and I've never fished there. You've fished it once, I believe,
I've
or
been
twice.
there like 2 or 3 times.
Okay, so
Not
I've never.
like yeah, not I haven't spent a lot of time on there, so I don't
Okay,
know too much. I have a few waypoints. That's about it.
okay. Yeah, I mean, you asked me to go through Google Earth and mark some spots, so I was out over here printing up maps and highlighting areas that I want to look at. Even before we get there, I'm just going to go in the garage, sit in the boat, and pull up my maps and see what contour lines and stuff look like, and see if it's something to look at once we get out there or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up. So
But
this
that,
is this is what the lake looks like, and we're
yeah,
actually staying at the state park here.
yep. And that's nice because there is that launch right there. So I
Yep.
mean, we're paying campers, so we got free use of the launch.
Yep. And actually, I was right here this weekend.
Hmm,
See, that's the
okay.
state park at Seneca Lake.
Yep.
I caught some fish right here.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going here. It's actually a pretty big lake.
Is about 20 miles long, top to bottom,
Yeah, I think
something
roughly.
roughly. Yep.
It takes a while to get around.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks it. And it's probably what about a mile to a mile and a half wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be fun. I know there's lots of smallmouth in there, and I know there's some largemouth, and I've actually read some fishing reports. I mean, it's hard to find a lot of fishing reports for current stuff, but I know there's some bigger largemouth that guys have caught, and I think I read like 8 pound 10 ounce or something. Somebody yanked at one point, but there's potential there. Do I think I'm going to catch a PB? I hope so, but I doubt it. But we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I mean the very tips of you have the Y shape here.
Yeah.
So the very tips here are real shallow. Up here, there's even a little. Um, the Penyan launch is actually right here.
Yep.
So this is kind of a little shallow bay here.
Google Earth, there's some very pronounced weed lines that you can see.
Oh yeah,
very pronounced. So I'm very interested in those because that's a lot what I fish down here, and the PI Bay. So I'm gonna have I'm definitely gonna have a wacky rig rigged up and ready to go.
This is the spot that I'm kind of real interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I've driven there past it, and it drops off real good right here on this huge point.
Yep.
So I'm very interested to do a lot of like doing some graphing and seeing if we can find some offshore fish here.
I read something super interesting about Cayuga Lake. Supposedly, it is the only lake in the United States that flows north and south. I don't know the logistics of it, but somehow you get water flow going out both ends.
I mean, you have the
yep.
Keuka Inlet here. And then you also have this little creek brook here.
Mm-hmm. Then you got like small little tributaries coming in all up and down each side, obviously.
Yeah, there's a ton of it. And then you have up here you have one.
Yep. That's Sugar Creek.
Yep. And then you have one over here. I'm not sure what that is.
Now, I wonder if that connects over to Seneca? Yep. Yeah, it does. All right. But I'm probably going to bring the whole kitchen sink with me, just because when we were at Cayuga back in May, the bass fishing didn't go so well, so we fished for some lake trout, and I know there's some decent lake trout down there, and even, I think even some brown trout too. So, maybe if we strike out with bass, which I hope we don't, it's always good to have other options.
Yep, and I know there's a lot of perch in there too. So
yeah, there are. Yep,
we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna catch something.
Yes, yeah, we will.
Our channel's been kind of a little weak with content lately, and we decided that we're actually going to we're gonna post a lot in the off season. We're gonna record a bunch. This trip we're gonna record a bunch too. We have a bunch of stuff already recorded. I have probably 3 trips already that I haven't posted.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna fill our off season with that when we're not as busy, and have a little bit more content in the fall and winter.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back in July with our fantasy fishing stuff.
July.
Oh, January.
Like, it is July. Come on. Yeah, it's. I mean, we're both probably super excited to waiting for the next year's schedule, and then just to see who makes it, who doesn't make it. Because I mean, especially for Drain the Lake next year, is going to be incredibly difficult strategizing how you want to separate your guys for events. That's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably end up doing some like a spreadsheet and go through and we'll figure out how the best way to do it. But we'll probably do like a little 5-10 minute show for each tournament before the season even starts, so people can search and kind of look up stuff on each one.
And it's almost pointless even throughout this next year to even put our Drain the Lake picks out there, because everybody is going to be different. Be like, well, these are great picks that you put out, but or not, but like I can't pick any of those guys. Those guys are already gone for my team, whatever. So it's completely different on how you approach it compared to just picking guys out of a group.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's cool. I'm actually surprised that Major League Fishing hasn't gotten into fantasy fishing yet. Their tournaments lend really well for fantasy fishing because you can have to their group A, group B type stuff. I think they could really capitalize on that, but they haven't done anything with it yet.
Yeah. See, they need to get with was it Ronnie Moore? I mean, he seems like the guy, the brainchild behind putting drain the lake together.
Yep.
Pick his brain a little bit on how to go about putting a fantasy fishing together for them or something.
And that's a big thing. It's like you get somebody that just enjoys fantasy sports and like doing this kind of stuff. You just get somebody else to watch, like to pay attention to the stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Get some more eyes on your sport.
Yep. Absolutely. And I think Fox Sports did a pretty good job this year.
Yep.
Obviously, I always talk about how many commercials there are, but regardless, it's more eyes on the sport, and it just makes it better for everybody, I think.
Yeah, I mean they're doing better than ESPN did.
Yeah. Yep. How are you feeling about Drain the Lake picks for St. Lawrence? I know I held back quite a few guys. My primary focus was for St. Lawrence more so than Champlain, so I kept a lot of guys back to try and hit a homer on this one.
Let's see.
I'm going to rattle off a bunch of mine. I got Micah Frazier, Gustafson, both the Johnstons, Carl, Mueller, Palaniuk, maybe Pipkins.
I have both the Johnstons. I have. Let's see. I have Gussie. I have Micah Frazier.
Okay, so we're pretty close then, team wise. Yep. All right.
Who else do I have? So I have like Pipkins. I still have Mueller. Yeah, I still have a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
How many is it? 7? Yep. Yeah, I'm good.
Yep. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, next year is going to be, you just have to plan it out for the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't just say, all right, I'm going to look at these first 3 events, and then once you finish those, I mean, you have to look at the whole season as one, and that's where you're going to start pulling your hair out.
I think with Drain the Lake, I hope they just opened up the whole season so you can just put your roster in. But I don't know if they will or not for next year.
It would be nice because they don't have groups that you have to wait till the previous event's over with. It would be nice to do that because I think it would make it a lot easier setting it up.
Yeah.
And that way you can kind of tweak and stuff as you go if you need to.
Yeah. For me, that would be a lot better. But I think in their eyes, like you have to go back each week, and it's more sponsorship dollars and all that kind of stuff that they can.
Yeah.
They can get, having the eyes on the site.
Mm-hmm. I've only fished. I've fished up here. I fished yesterday for like 30 minutes, good weather, and like I think June 30th. So it's been like a week and a half before that since I've been bass fishing. So I've kind of been taking a little time off because a lot of times I think when I fish 3-4 times a week, I kind of lose a little bit of the fire. So I'm like super excited about our trip coming up, and yeah, I'd rather have a little bit more fire burning than just coming off fishing 4 or 5 days the previous week. So
yeah, I mean, I fished. Actually, it's funny because I fished July 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I fished 4 days in a row.
Nice.
And July 4th and 5th, we went out and crushed the smallmouth.
Yeah.
So those were good days. And
yep.
I mean, I went out today, but I had 2 kids on the boat, and my attention wasn't all there, and we were only out for like an hour and a half or so. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think the next time I'm going to get out is for our trip.
Yep. Well, obviously, I'm coming up next weekend. You got something going on at the house, so I'll be up, and I will be the boat will be in tow. I know my brother's off the following week, and we had to postpone our Lake Ontario king salmon trip with my brother and my dad and I. So hopefully the three of us can get out, either Monday or Tuesday that next week. And I'm just praying for decent weather and maybe more of a south wind, just so we can actually get out to the depths we need to in my boat to hopefully catch a couple of those big fish.
So are you just staying up then? I know we've talked about Wednesday where.
Well, because of the fact that Anne's going to be up too. Yeah. I mean, even like it's going to be a quick turnaround because we'll be up Sunday, probably Monday. Well, definitely Monday, and probably maybe even Tuesday. And then like if we don't go out on Ontario till Tuesday, I'm going to be getting home Tuesday night, and then I'm going to be back up Wednesday night. So it's going to be a tough turnaround. Well, I don't plan on staying up.
Yeah.
I mean, if I know Anne doesn't really want to make the drive back down to Erie by herself, so, and I wouldn't expect her to drive all the way back up to get me either, especially having a boat for her to take back too. So,
well, whatever gear you want to drop at the house when you're up.
Yeah, I'll probably leave.
Later.
Yeah, I'll probably leave some stuff up there because obviously I don't think I'm going to have time to fish down here in that turnaround time. So,
yeah, I'm really excited to get out there, and I think we've learned a lot in the last few years, and we haven't actually fished together much in the last. I mean, we've fished a couple lakes together, but not on the same boat.
Not on the same boat. Yeah, I mean it's probably. I don't think we've fished on the same boat since I've got my boat.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, so I mean that's just over 2 years since I've been fishing on mine.
Yeah, so I think we're going to do a lot more graphing and spending time searching.
Yep. Because I know one of these couple days coming up. I know the weather's not going to be the best, so there's probably going to be an hour or two that I'm just sitting in the garage in my boat, staring at that screen for Keuka and looking at maps and stuff like that. So
cool.
Trying to get some waypoints going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured I don't know how the weather is going to be for our trip, but
yeah, that's
the heat of the day we can go, the heat of the day we can just drive around and graph and spend some of our time doing that.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, we even talked about too. I mean, even if say we fish all day Thursday and then Friday morning and we still don't get anything, like we always have the option. I mean, we can always run over to Seneca or Cayuga or whatever. I mean, there's options, and even to the south, you can fish like Wineta or whatever else. I mean, there's plenty of lakes within an hour's drive.
Yep.
If we wanted to do that anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have that option.
Yep.
All right, made it to an hour and 3 minutes.
All right. Yeah.
We still have people watching.
Right. So thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, if you've gotten this far, like and subscribe, and leave us some comments. We can definitely get back to you.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like we said, there's no percentages up yet, so some of our picks may change. I know my C group is probably going to get moved. I mean, I really like your Keith Combs pick, so that could very well do that. But yeah, this would be nice, quick turnaround here to the next event. So
yeah, I think this is our only one that we had that quick a turnaround.
Yeah, it was pretty much like there was a lot of events, but it was just every other. Yep, which is good.
Yeah, it makes it easier for us. We can actually spend a little time and get the video out, and this one's only going to be a few days before the tournament. So
yeah. Yep, and we like to try and get our video and our picks out there, first before serious anglers do, and like the open guys, or Hallman and all those guys. So, yep.
Yeah, I know we've had a few of those where we like watch their shows and we look at our picks. It's like, well, we just made the same picks as these guys, and
yeah,
yep. We don't like I sit down, I make my picks without any, any bias,
Yeah.
as far as any help or anything. So,
Hmm. Yep.
in most cases, when you see my picks, it's what my research showed without actually hearing it from somebody else's mouth.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously watch other people's content too to see what their research and their thinking is. Like when I watch Hallman and Pangrak and those guys, every single one of them said Brian Schmidt, I think, and I'm just like, huh. And I'm thinking, well, Jamie Hartman, and I was like I said earlier, I'm like I'm that close to like switching to Schmidt, and I should have. I would have just crushed it this week, but hindsight's 2020, so
Yep.
it is what it is. I did have Schmidt and Drain the Lake though.
I think I don't even know if I think I had him. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, after this tournament, we'll do a video and kind of a season recap. We'll announce the winner.
Mhm.
If you're listening now, um, we actually took a screen. We have a screenshot of everybody. We have all the names of everybody who made it in
Before the first event,
before the first event.
right?
I didn't want somebody who did really well the first event and then said, "Oh, I'm just going to jump into every group and try to win it."
Try and
It's
win
going to
some
be
prizes.
Yeah, it's going to be whoever like signed up for our group before the tournament, before the season started.
Yeah, before St. John's. Yep.
So sorry if you're that person that jumped in too late, but
Yeah.
then we'll get your prize out.
I just pulled up my Drain the Lake from Champlain, 1,980 points. So I'm pretty happy with that result. Yeah, first, fourth, fifth, sixth, 61, 73, and 87. Man, Scott Martin blew my mind this week. That totally threw me off.
What did you end up doing?
87th.
Oof.
That, yeah.
All right, that was right there. I ended up with 1539.
I'm going
And
to look at the leaderboard real quick to see who had the most points for Drain the Lake overall. 2,341. Wow. That's impressive.
yeah, I had Fighter Felix. The guy that really disappointed me was Hackney.
He was tied for 45th, but he lost the tiebreaker to get in for day 3. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, between him and Hartman. Hartman was the other one that was disappointing. 73rd.
Very much. Yeah, I was definitely disappointed in him. I'm sure he's more disappointed in himself, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, we do have another project we're working on, and it'll be done here soon.
Yeah, we're
do some videos on.
We're testing out a couple prototypes here for Keuka Lake. I'm excited about it. Yep. So this will be good. So it should be pretty close to exactly what each of us want.
Yeah, we used each other's. We both have drop shot rods that I've built, and this last year, well, a few weeks ago, we traded rods to try a little something different.
Yep.
And then we took our ideas and squished them together, and we're making our first production type rod.
Well, I'm not. You are. I'm just helping brainstorm with you.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
But it's gonna be I forgot what we decided on. Finesse shot.
Finesse shot rod. Yep.
It's gonna be a very finesse rod, medium light, fast action, 7'3".
Yep.
With, I think, honestly, probably the perfect handle. The handle that we got on it is. It's very minimal, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So you went EVA grips, foam grips, and I prefer Winds myself, but I mean either's fine with me. But Wind for me, I just like it just a little bit extra. So,
Yeah, I mean it adds about $20 to $30 on the rod.
Yeah.
Is the difference. But other than that, they're both the same, basically the same.
Yep.
The one thing I do like that I came up with is there's a locking nut on the back.
Mhm.
So the back grip is actually a locking nut. So when you put the reel on, you have the first nut that you lock on to the reel, and being down locking, sometimes the reel will come loose. Well, this other piece that I came up with is actually a locking nut, so it actually locks it in.
Mhm.
And we'll see when we actually get to test them how well it does. But has a little bit of a grip on it, but also locks in, so that reel isn't going to go anywhere.
Right. Yep.
We'll see. It's going to be
Yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, we will catch fish with them. I'm positive.
Yep, and they're going to be a pretty performance rod for. I forget what I said that the prices are going to end up being. Like, I think it's 150 for EVA, and I think you're looking at 175 for wind grip,
Okay.
roughly 160. I forget, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. All right.
So it's gonna be pretty. I mean, for what it is, it's gonna be pretty um, pretty cheap for what you can go buy some of these other companies who have these specific rods.
Yep.
It's gonna be definitely a competitive price.
Yeah.
Probably even cheaper. But
Yep.
and the best part is you can put it in whatever color you want.
Exactly. Yep. You don't have to buy the pink one at the store.
Yeah, if you want it.
Right. Yeah, I got my reel. I bought a reel for it, so I'm ready to go. I'm excited.
Yep, you got the Daiwa, right?
Yeah, I got a Daiwa. Yep. I think it's the newer Legalis. It's $70 or whatever. But the newer version, this year's version, is black and blue, so
Yep.
that'll help with the blue highlights I got. So
Yep.
yeah, it'll work out good. I'm excited.
Yep, and then I'm going to use a Daiwa Crossfire. I think it was I can't remember if it was a 15. It was 2500.
Yeah, it's a mine. It's 2,500.
Yeah,
I
it's in that
I
range.
I actually prefer a slightly smaller spinning reel. I mean, unless I'm like got a medium heavy or a heavy. I mean, then I'll use like a 3 or 4,000 series. But most of the time for like medium light mediums, I'm right in that 2,000 to 2,500 size. That's just me.
Yeah, I forget what we. I weighed out a lot of the pieces of the rod, and I think we were looking at a rod under 4 ounces.
Okay.
But they'll be finished here in a couple days.
Yep.
Get the last of the epoxy on it and the stickers.
Yeah.
And
I was,
give them away.
I was making a list of rods that I need to bring for our trip, and I'm at 7 right now, and that's excluding if I want to bring extra stuff for lake trout, if we want to jig for lake trout or whatever. So yeah, it's gonna be a full boat.
And no worries.
Yeah, we got room. Yep. All right.
Let's call it a night.
Yeah, call it a night.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah, appreciate it. And hope you guys enjoyed Champlain tournament. I mean, it was just awesome to watch, and today was it's probably one of the best tournaments I've ever seen. But hopefully you guys watched some of it too.
Yep. All right. He's Matt, and I am Scott, and we are Stout Sportsmen.
We're out.
Yeah, we're gonna stay stout and be out.
That's right. Take care.